first talk of a three-part talk. I intended to begin this on Friday and then have the second talk today on Saturday, the third talk on Monday. But given the circumstances, we'll do this first talk here. I have a separate Dharma talk for our Sunday Open Zen, which I'll do tomorrow. But just to know that this is part one. This is part one of a three-part Dharma talk. And I'm going to call this Dharma talk Generating Compassion Through Body Awareness. Right? Generating compassion through body awareness. What this is going to be about is the inseparability of body and mind. The inseparability of body and of mind. I'd like to introduce to you case 54 of the Book of Serenity. It's called Yunyan's Great Compassion. Let's take a look at the case itself. Yunyan asked Dao Wu, what does the Bodhisattva of great compassion do with so many hands and eyes? What does the Bodhisattva of great compassion do with so many hands and eyes? Now, if you've seen images of Avalokiteshvara, you know that she or he, depending on gender, it's multi-gendered, but some images depict her as having 1,000 arms coming all around the sides of her. And in each hand there's something, maybe some medicine or something else to help heal people, help heal the world. I have a wonderful image of Avalokiteshvara behind me here that was given to me by a good Dharma friend, Steve Rogers, several years ago when I was transitioning out of the Zen temple, Mount Equity Zendo. I just love this Avalokiteshvara. Right. So there's another image here, and later I'll talk about these various heads. Avalokiteshvara with 9 heads, what's that about? What does that mean? So, let's get back to this case. What does the Bodhisattva of great compassion, that's Avalokiteshvara, what does this Bodhisattva do with so many hands and eyes? Each hand is said to contain within it an eye. Right? So this Bodhisattva has all of these hands, and each hand has an eye within it, a physical eye. Dao Wu said, it's like someone reaching back for the pillow at night. It's like someone reaching back for the pillow at night. You know how we do that? We don't even think about it. We just grab that pillow and we draw it in. Yunyan said, I understand. Uh-oh. When somebody says they understand, they don't understand. Dao Wu said, how do you understand? Yunyan said, all over the body is hands and eyes. All over the body is hands and eyes. Well, that's a very descriptive. Whose body is he talking about? He's talking about our body. Right? All over this body are hands and eyes. What does that mean? Obviously, we don't have hands. We don't have a million hands in each pore of our body, do we? It's not like it's little hands coming up over all these places. There's no physical eye. We don't see any eyes on our skin or on our nails or in other places. We don't see that. So what's it mean? Dao Wu said, you said a lot there, but you got only 80%. And he's only 80% correct. So Yunyan said, well, What about you, elder brother? Dawu said, throughout the body is hands and eyes. Well, this is a minor distinction as far as I understand this. Either way you look at it, we have this idea of hands and eyes throughout the body, eyes throughout the body. So let's investigate this together. The point here is that the physical body is filled with sentience, with feeling. You know, the eyes, let's look at this from a scientific perspective. These eyes are the sense organ that's deeply connected to the brain. It's not much of a stretch to go from the eyes to the brain. And I've heard it said that the eyes are considered an extension of the brain. So to say that eyes are found throughout the body is calling intelligence to every aspect of this body, not just what's happening up here, what's going on in our thoughts. The point is that the physical body is filled with sentience, filled with feeling. All bodies, your body, everybody's body is filled with sentience. Even the insentient are filled with sentience. Our body is the great body. Our body is not just this body here, but it's the great body of the whole universe. These are wonderful words to think about, but how do we actually practice it? What do we do with this information? How do we make this koan understandable for our life? We don't need to study this koan as our koan. Our life is our koan. Right? So your life is already your koan. You don't have to make a puzzle out of something that's irrelevant for you. Right? So we're just studying this story as a means to understand our own life. So what does it mean? What does it mean to have eyes throughout the body? Well, one thing to keep in mind is that Zen is a very physical practice. So it's a physical practice. You hear people talking about spirituality, and it's like they don't even have a body sometimes. It's like they have no connection with their body. They talk about all kinds of spiritual things and ideas, all kinds of beliefs that are so wonderful, maybe aliens out in outer space or something. And it's ridiculous. There's no connection with the body. Zen brings it back home, right? We ground ourselves, we root ourselves in our physical body. Without a body, we don't have anything. Without good health, we don't have anything. If nothing else, this is saying to take good care of your body. My teacher's question when she was practicing ballet, classical ballet, her question was, what is this body that moves through space? What is this body that moves through space? And think about a classical ballet dancer. Every day they wake up and they're going to perform, whether it's practice or an actual live performance. They're moving. What is this body that is able to move through space? And she brought this question up to her teacher, Oyama Roshi, and she said, yeah, that's Zen practice too. When we live in a Zen temple and we're training at a Zen temple, we're learning how the body moves through space. We ask the question, what is this body that is able to move through space in this way? Right? So in Zen, we have forms. We have gasho, for example. We bring our palms together. Wow. If we really, if we're really present with this is an incredible form. It's not supplication. It's just the form is, let's bring our palms together. And then let's bow. There's another form. The Zendo has its own choreography. Right? We bring our hands together in Shashu when we do walking meditation, placing it under solar plexus. This is a form. If you don't like the form, you're really missing the point. We do the form because that's what allows us into the house of the Buddha, as far as a temple life goes. We said Zazen. Zazen is simply a form, right? Straight back, upright. Now, of course, you've got to learn how to sit again and again and again. It's not just simply, oh, I got to sit up straight. That is a kind of losing attitude. We've got to learn how to improve our posture, no doubt. We have lots to improve there, and your mind will change when your posture changes. There's another example of eyes throughout the body. Your mind will change as your posture improves, and we've got to continue unceasingly to develop our posture. There's no end to this. There's not a time where we get off scot-free. And what does that mean? How do we do that? Well, you're not going to be able to do it in one sesshin. You're not going to be able to do it in one sitting of Zazen. You have to look at your whole life and how you could work in postural improvements. Maybe it's some form of exercise. Personally, I prefer swimming. I don't like running. If you like running, then run. I also enjoy lifting weights. That helps me to keep everything plumb. And so there's loads of things. Yoga is the other thing. We got to do these things for our body. If we want to stay healthy, if we want to have a good Zazen, right? If we want to have good Zazen, you've got to take care of your body. Maybe it's beating a drum. Maybe it's beating a taiko drum, right? Getting your ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. You got to love life. You can't just sit there and expect things to improve. And yeah, that's what we're doing here, right? We're just sitting here. You can't just sit there and expect anything to change or improve. You've got to do something to take care of your physical body. It might take place in the Zendo, but it might not. And that's why I want to encourage everybody here to take care of their physical body. All right. In my case, the question being a swimmer, I swam competitively in high school as well as in college, and that was one of the reasons my teacher agreed to ordain me. She said, "Oh yeah," she was a ballet dancer, and she knew there was a certain degree of discipline that's required to be a priest. So she said, "Yeah, I think you might be all right for this." And she was, I trusted her wisdom there. And I feel that the training that I received by swimming, no doubt has affected the way that I practice Zen. And the one word that I ascribe to this training is streamline. I love this word, streamline. Streamline is, how do you move through the water in the shortest time possible without any drag? How do you move through the water with as little drag as possible, getting from one point to the next? Right? This is streamline. When we bring our arms up, I'm not going to be able to show it to you, but I'll do my best. Right? You get your arms up over your head. You're stretching your arms up, and you say, I can't do it here on the video, but your hands are overlapping. Your thumbs catch your bottom thumb catches the top. Your top thumb catches the bottom. So the hands are together here. The hands are together. and then arms are up over the head, and the ears are in front of the arms. All right, your elbows are straight. That's how you push off a wall in a pool to minimize drag. So as you're going, every time you push off the wall, you get that streamline going. Your body is not producing drag. And that's what Zen training is, to me, is how do we reduce drag in our life? Because drag is going to just slow us down. And to reduce drag, for us, we learn, we study. We study Zen, we study Zazen, we study the forms. Right? There's forms in Nebraska Zen Center that you can study. We study Gasho. This is a way to reduce drag. Think about this. How does this reduce drag? What am I saying? Well, how does this reduce drag? Right? We're recognizing we're not separate from each other. Drag is when we think, that person over there, they don't agree with me. We're not on the same page. They don't like me. Putting the palms together, we recognize, I am that person over there. There's nothing to get caught up about. We just have a difference of opinion. That's all. And we both belong right where we are. Palms together, right? This reduces mental drag. Bowing reduces this kind of mental drag where we think we're the best. We think we're above everybody. Or we think we're the worst. We think we're below everybody. So to put your palms together and to bow is a way of reducing drag. The drag of our life, right? Of the drag. If we want to get from one point to the next, we got to learn how to reduce drag, right? So we bow. All right. So let's explore a little bit. I'd like to share exploring this idea of this body-mind connection. Let's look at what Dogen Zenji says about the body and the mind. He says a lot, actually. It's wonderful to see this. All right, so there is a fascicle. There's a fascicle of Dogen's called Shinjin Gakudo. Shinjin Gakudo. Shinjin Gakudo. Shin is body. Jin is heart or mind. Gaku is to study, and Do is the way. Shin, Jin, Gaku, Do. Notice here, Shin, that first Shin, the Chinese character is for body. So Dogen starts out his writing, in the title at least, he starts it out by putting the body first character. And that tells you the importance of the body. The fact that it's put first, even before mind or heart. Shin, Jin. Now, if that word Jin for heart or mind was put first, it would also be Shin. Right? So when you put it second like that, it becomes Jin. In any case, don't get caught up in these sounds. Mind comes second. Mind and heart are not separate things. Right? The Shin, Jin, Gaku, Do. Study of the way. Gaku, Do. So let me read a little bit from this fascicle. Body and mind study of the way. This is the Kaz Tanahashi translation. So Dogen starts out then by letting us know what does it mean to study the mind? What does it mean to study the mind? He says, to study with mind means to study with the various aspects of mind, such as consciousness, emotion, and intellect. Right? Consciousness, emotion, and intellect. All of those things are part of our study. After resonating with the way, that's a nice phrase, right? After resonating with the way. What does it mean to resonate with the way? We find a teacher, and we see there's a vibration that teacher gives off, and we want to be with that teacher. That was my experience. I saw my teacher for the first time at Rook Chapel Bucknell University. I saw her sitting there in Zazen. I was like, boom, I am done with everything else. This college I love this college, but it ain't teaching me enough about what's really important. This college is not teaching me enough about what is important. It's a wonderful college, but they're missing something big here. Right? So I resonated with the way. I found a teacher that had been practicing the way for, probably 25, 30 years at that time. And I thought, boom, that's what I want to learn how to do that. Well, I'm not wasting my time with all this other nonsense. Study this and study that. It has nothing to do with my life. Right? We got to study our own life, our body and mind, not somebody else's. We don't need to study somebody else's. We study this body and mind. Don't waste your time. You're the Buddha, not somebody else. Of course, somebody else is also the Buddha, right? But as far as you're concerned, the Buddha is yourself. That's what we want to study here. I don't care if you're a monk or a layperson. It doesn't matter. If you believe in the Buddha or you don't believe in the Buddha, it's all nonsense. All right. So first, you got to resonate with the way. Second, he says, arouse the thought of enlightenment. Arouse the thought of enlightenment. All right. I can do this too. I see my teacher there sitting in a beautiful posture. I can do that. I can do that. That's the attitude. I can do it. Never think you can't do something. Never. If you want to do something, you can do it. I don't care what physical or mental illness you've got. It doesn't matter. You can do it. If you want to do something, it may take a long time, but you can do it. You find a way. Right? You find a way. Don't give up on yourself. Society may give up on you, but don't give up on yourself. You want to do something, you do it. Right? Arouse the thought of enlightenment. After resonating with the way and arousing the thought, take refuge in the great way of the Buddha ancestors and devote yourself to the practice of the way. Even if you have not yet aroused way-seeking mind, so maybe we don't. Maybe we haven't aroused way-seeking mind. All right. Follow the examples of the Buddhas and ancestors who did arouse way-seeking mind. No, if we haven't aroused, if we don't know, I don't know what I'm meant to do. Well, then we can look to the instruction of others. Right? If we don't know what our purpose is, why we're here, what we should be doing, well, then we can look to the instruction of others. No doubt. They can help us out. And it doesn't mean you have to be like them, but they can help us out. There's a lot of people. I've been blessed by multiple teachers, and seeing them, their examples have been very powerful for me. We can't do it without teachers. I think we cannot. And I include my swim coaches in that. We cannot do this. You can't learn how to swim by yourself. You've got to have some instruction. You just get in the water and you don't even know how to float. Right? Zen is the same way. You're not going to learn this path without some instruction, without some guidance. And then once you get it, you get it. You keep going. And even if I'm still learning. I'm still learning Zen. I'm still learning how to swim. I look on videos and say, I have teachers still. There's no end to this. All right. So Dogen says more about what this mind is. He says the mind of the ancient Buddhas, right? Your mind. When you've given up. When Sesshin, I mentioned earlier that Sesshin is this study of losing, of, what was the word that I used? I can't remember now. What?
Failure.
Failing? Yeah, failure. Yeah. So when we study, when we do sesshin, we're studying failure, and we might give up on ourselves. That's okay. It's okay to give up on yourself. But this is where we can start to invoke the power of others. This is where we can start to invoke the power of the ancient masters that have long ago deceased, but they have not. They're right in us, and they can come forward. You can allow them to come forward in you. When you're done, when your brain is turned, you can't do anything. You can't even breathe straight. We talk about you can't think straight. In Zen, we talk about you can't even breathe straight. Right? When you can't even breathe straight anymore, then you invoke the Buddha ancestors. You let them breathe for you. Right? This is the power of no self. We bring the others that are in us forward. Let them practice for us. Right? You share your seat with the Buddhas. You share your seat with the Buddhas. Right? Share your seat. Don't think that it's you by yourself sitting. You share your seat with the Buddhas. They come forward and practice for you. Very easy. You want to make your practice easy, let the Buddhas do it. They know what they're doing. They know it well, way more than we know it. Right? And we can invite them into our practice. Let me know if you want to talk about this more one-on-one. What does this actually mean to invite the Buddhas to practice? Well, that's what we're doing. We're inviting them. All right? Everyday mind. That's what we study, is everyday mind. What a wonderful, I love everyday mind. Just this normal, everyday stuff. Brushing your teeth, washing your face, shaving. So my face was all these whiskers, white whiskers on my face this morning. It was so nice to just take them off, Fixing my bed. It was nice to fix the bed here. I woke up, my bed was a mess. I fixed the bed. That is practice. That is practice. If that's not practice, you don't know what practice is. Practice this isn't just this kind of sitting in the zendo. It's an important piece, but it's not everything. The tenzo, right? We should be worshiping the tenzo. They're really doing this practice, chopping the veggies, cooking up soups, making rice, making pasta, whatever it is. This is everyday mind. We shouldn't be worshiping anybody. But anyways, but when you practice, that's it. Get in the kitchen, wash the dishes. That's practice. It is such an important piece of our life, is to clean up after ourselves. If you want to make peace with others, if you want to make peace with the world that you live in, clean up after yourself, and don't put up with anybody who doesn't. We all make a mess. And my wife I'm lucky to have a wife that's also a Zen priest to remind me to get my act together. We need that, right? I need a teacher. My wife is my teacher too. I see her as that way. But we all need a teacher. We need to be reminded, let me leave this place the way that I found it, or better, or cleaner. Right? That's a foundation of Zen practice, is that sweep the floor, wipe down the counters, clean the mirrors. Right? Don't leave your messes behind. Think about when you're using the bathroom, how is this place going to look for the next person? And don't just do this in the zendo. It's nice if you do it in the zendo, but do it at your own home. Do it at your workplace. How is this place going to look? Everyday mind. The triple world, which is one mind. Sometimes, I like this here, sometimes you study the way by casting off the mind. And then he says, sometimes you study the way by picking up the mind. Right? We can't get stuck in this idea, I drop off body and mind. He says, sometimes we study the way by dropping off body and mind. Sometimes we find the way or practice the way by picking it up. Pick up this mind. Right? Sometimes we pick it up, sometimes we release it. All right. Now, what does he mean by studying the body? What does he mean? What's he referring to, study the body? To study the way with the body means to study the way with your own body. That's a wonderful. To study the way with your own body. It is the study of the way using this lump of red flesh. This lump, right? He refers to the body, this lump of red flesh. The body comes forth from the study of the way. The body comes, get your mind wrapped around. The body comes forth from the study of the way. Wow, that's really something. How did, by studying the way, my body comes forth? That's strange, isn't it? A strange thing to think about. My body comes forth. I didn't know my body came forth by studying the way. I thought my body came forth because, well, wait a minute. How does my body come forth? Do you ever think about that? How does your body come forth? Well, if you do think about it, you might find that your body comes forth by studying the way. It's a Zen perspective on this. How does our body come forth? By studying the way. I don't know if I fully can comprehend that, but it sounds really cool and interesting, doesn't it? The body comes forth from study of the way. Wow. I don't know if I can comprehend that completely. But I will say that we are, maybe what he means is that our body is the result of how we interpret and understand life itself, right? Maybe that's what he's saying. Not how we interpret our life. So if we think we're supposed to, if we think it's good to be healthy, and I hope you think it's good to be healthy. If you think it's good to be healthy, then you want to take good care of yourself. You want to take good care of your body and your mind. That means you want to have a good diet. You want to exercise. And for your mind, you want to study. Right? You want to read books. You want to attend lectures. Learn. And those things shape the way that our body mind is, that they turn out to shape, right? This body is the result of swimming for 14 years of my early life. Swimming shaped my body. The study of swimming, for me, shaped my physical body. It created it, in a sense. Shoulders became wider, right? But we all have, and then also eating a diet that's low in animal proteins, animal fats. Pretty much I've eliminated it. There's occasions where I'm not a strict vegetarian or vegan, but I have mostly eliminated that stuff from my diet, as long as I have a choice about it. It's difficult for all of us on the holidays when we meet with our families, and we don't want to by our food choices with our families. We can offend people if we don't take what they've made for us. So we need to take caution here and not be too strict with ourselves, especially around the holidays. It's a hard time. It's not one of my favorite seasons, these holidays. Very stressful. But in any case, we do what we can. We do the best we can. And maybe for some people, it's like, oh, I'm going to just say I'm a vegetarian, and that works for me. But it's not just enough to be, vegetarian. You need to eat right. You can't just be eating sugar. Got to balance the diet and find a way to keep working on your diet. There's ways we can improve what we eat and how, what we're learning in the Zendo is how to eat. That's all that oryoki. Those are forms teaching us how to eat. It's refining our mind. When we hold up the bowls, 3 fingers, right? And we use the spoon, we use chopsticks. We're learning to use a different mode of eating, and we're refining our ability there. We're refining our mind. by using the word. It can be quite challenging practice, as you all know. Opening up the bowls, having everything set out a certain way, everything is orderly, and that affects our mind. That's the intention, is that we see the order here, and the order is also here. All right, so everything which comes forth from the study of the way is the true human body. The entire world of the 10 directions is nothing but the true human body. Oh my God, that's really something, huh? The coming and going of birth and death is the true human body. To turn this body around, abandoning the 10 unwholesome actions, keeping the 8 precepts, taking refuge in the 3 treasures, and leaving home and entering the homeless life is the true study of the way. Wow, leaving home. Most of us, I think, have not left home completely. I'm home. And you guys will return home when you're done. So we need to interpret this more symbolically. What does it mean to leave home? What is a home leaver? Let's think about those habits that are not skillful, yet they're familiar. Right? Leaving the toilet seat up is a bad habit. Close the seat. Right? We're leaving behind old habits. That's a home leaver. I mean, I don't want to diminish what a home leaver does. Certainly, it's a powerful practice to actually cut ties with your family. And I did that. I did that to a certain degree. But I've found that it's impossible. I still talk to my mom, especially after my father's passing away. I talk to my mother regularly now. It's absolute. And I remember I had confused home leaving with some kind of other thing where it's just like this hard, strict cutting off of familial ties. Now when I think about that, I think, no, that's you can do that, and people do it. And if your family is really not helpful, you got to do it, actually. If your family is not supportive of your transformation, then you really got to let them go. But to be honest, my family has been very supportive, and I thank them for that. And it's the family where compassion is born. That's where we learn. That's the root of compassion is our family. That's where we learn compassion. When I was training with Nonan for 3 months back in, was it 1999, and he said to me, "You can call your mom every day." There was such a weight lifted off of my chest when he said that. I thought, oh gosh, I don't have to cut ties with my family. My family came to my ordination ceremony. It was wonderful to have them there. My mother was crying the whole time. But you know what happened? She took me very, very serious. She takes my practice very seriously. And when my father passed away, she said, "Eric, you're doing the ceremony." Right? Because I made a vow. I made a vow to leave home and do this practice fully, do this 100%. That's what we get. We go into the Zendo and we just let go of everything. That's going to be waiting for you. Don't worry about it. For now, just 100% get into your practice. All right, let's continue here with this eyes throughout the body. So Shinjin Gaku Do. The Gaku means to study something. And so I want to investigate what this word means, study. What does it mean to study? And to contrast it with the word to learn. Study and learn are two different things. Learn is a end result, and study is something, it's a process. To study is a process. To learn is an end result. We're not focusing on learning. We're focusing on studying. The study is a process. We continue to look. We continue to look. And when you're sitting in Zazen, how does that work? You continue to look with interest, with beginner's mind. You continue to look again and again at your body, at your physical body. Like I mentioned, like what Dogen said, this lump of red flesh. You continue to look at it. Keep at it. Keep at it. Keep looking at it. Eyes throughout the body. You can feel sensations in your legs, in your arms, in your back. Right? These are the eyes throughout the body. You study your mind. What does it mean to study the mind? Intellect, emotion, all of those things. You continue to look with a beginner's mind. Come back to it, and we're studying it as a process. We're not worried about the learning, this end result thing. Right? It just catches us all. You need to learn. Obviously, we need to learn, but we can't focus our attention on the end result. We got to focus on the process. This is key. Whether you're studying Zen or studying biology, it's the mind that we bring to the study that is important. And this mind that has an ethos, a way of being that is geared towards process, not towards end result. Right? If you're focused on the end result, you're going to give up once you're done. Once you find that end result, focus on the process and continue to cultivate that sense of wonder with what you're studying. All right. Yeah, this having studied, Confucius says, having studied to then repeatedly apply what you have learned, is this not a source of joy? Having studied to then repeatedly apply what you have. So we study, we learn something, and then we got to study again. Keep applying what you're learning through Zazen. Oh, when I put my back up in a certain way, then I can feel some shifts, internal shifts. What if I did this? What if I did that? You know, how is my chin? If I pick it up like this, if I lower it like this, what happens? What about my eyes? Are they soft and looking out to the periphery, or are they focused tightly on one thing? All of these things make a difference. How about when I can't focus anymore? Can I call upon those ancient sages to do the practice for me? Can I invite them to my seat? Can I share my seat with them? Right? And when you find some success with these things, with these tools during Zazen, you've got a toolkit now. You can draw from these various methods. I use that word very hesitatingly because we talk about shikantaza as not having any methods, but we undoubtedly are working with various kinds of methods here. So Dogen uses this word study. He doesn't use the word learn. And when he's talking about study, Shinjin Gaku Do, Shinjin, body, mind, Gaku Do, study the way. He's talking about, when he refers to the mind, he says he's referring to consciousness, emotion, and intellect. Thought, he's referring to the thought of enlightenment. He's referring to taking refuge, to everyday mind, to casting off the mind and taking up the mind. He even talks about it as thinking and non-thinking. Sometimes, he says, sometimes we study the way by thinking. Sometimes we study the way not thinking. Right? He says, with regards to the mind, we study the mind by bowing, by shaving the head. Right? If you're a monk, that's what you do. Maybe if you're not, maybe if you're You shave your face, right? These are all opportunities to study the mind. All right. We leave the world behind. We study the mind by leaving the world behind. Buddha exhales through your nostrils. Dogen says this. Buddha exhales through your nostrils. This is the study of the way, through the study of mind. Buddha exhales through your nostrils, right? This is inviting the Buddha into your seat, to sit down in your seat and do the practice for you, right? When you're done practicing and you can't do it anymore, you just say, okay, Buddha, I'm inviting you into my seat and you do this practice for me because I can't do it anymore. You're going to have to do it for me, right? And then allow the Buddha to exhale through your nostrils, right? Your physical nostrils. And then, with regards to the body, Dogen says it's your own body. It's a lump. He refers to the body as a lump of red flesh. He refers to our body as the entire world, as keeping the precepts, taking refuge, and also leaving the world. So, I don't know about you, but I see an awful lot of overlap between body and mind here. Right? There's not this like strict category. This is mind, this is body, but there's this overlap between the two. He doesn't make a sharp distinction between body and mind. So, a question that I have: how do we develop compassion? How do we develop compassion? Right? There's some connection here. There's some relevance between body-mind awareness and the development of compassion. And I'll give an example. I was listening to a TED talk by a female body builder. I was really impressed by her talk. She said, everybody should lift weights. She basically said everybody should be lifting weights for their own health and well-being. And she said partly because if you're not healthy, you're not going to be able to take care of anybody else. And she cited the father that comes home and can't lift a child because his low back pain. And so, again, if we don't take care of this body, we're not going to be able to help others the way that we want to, or the way that we can. So I say, never give up. Never give up. Even if you have pain, I got this flu. It sucks to be sick. I can't help my family out like the way I would want to. I can't help you guys out the way that I want to because I got sick. I can beat myself up for that, or I can just keep going. We keep doing what we can to get better, to get healthy, to learn from what we have done, from what works, from what doesn't work. So the question is like, how do we develop compassion? How do we develop compassion for having eyes throughout the body? The body knows. The body keeps the score. So I want to conclude this talk with a poem. And this is part one. This is part one. I'll offer the second part of this talk on Monday. No body, no mind, body, mind, body, mind. Compassionate eyes look through the body. Compassion is this body. Thank you.